Hey everyone, we'll be getting started shortly. Just give us a few moments here. Hello, Stephen. Okay. Okay, guys, just give me a second. Let me figure out how to add Stephen and give him the presenting rights. Hi, Stephen.
Hello, Dexter.
Hi. So, okay, guys, Stephen is here. So let me. Yep. I think people. I've clicked on your screen, so you can very well go ahead and share your screen and start with the session. Yep.
Where is it you said? I cannot.
Okay, I think you have to share your screen. Do you see on the left hand side? I think on the second window there will be
Okay.
yeah, screen share.
Oh no.
Okay. Yep. I.
Yeah.
Yep. I see your screen.
Do you see the full screen or just the slide?
Only this slide,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's a little bit small.
Yeah. I would like to share the full screen. Just let me try to figure that out.
So what time is it there, Stephen?
Oh, it's 12:40 here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I originally planned actually to attend the meeting at 1.
Okay.
So I got in a rush here. When you
Okay.
told me, when I saw it on Facebook, it's in 15 minutes. I was like, what?
And I think,
Yeah.
yeah, the mistake was on my side. I think I told everyone it's 5:30. So probably we can have a little bit of delay.
Okay.
Yeah, I see your screen.
So yeah, you see the full screen now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I don't know. You just tell me when I can start.
Yeah. Okay. So one of my friend Harshal, he gave me the confirmation that he's able to see your screen.
Okay, great.
Okay. So before starting, Stephen, would you like to give a little brief introduction about you?
Sure, but that's actually
Okay, it's part of the
yeah,
slides.
it's part of the slide. So
Okay.
so yeah, I think that will fit into that.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll share your website link in this showcase so that people can access it directly. PowerShellDistrict.com, correct?
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So guys, we'll be starting now. Okay, Stephen, you can go ahead.
sure. Okay, well, first of all, thank you to all the people who are attending this, the third PowerShell Bangalore user group. My name is Stephane van Gulick, and I'm going to do a short introduction to SIM and WMI technologies through PowerShell. So a very short agenda here. First of all, I'm going to present myself, just so we're comfortable with knowing each other. Why am I actually presenting something for the PowerShell user group in Bangalore? Then an introduction really about the technology, so PowerShell, and here the branch of WMI and SIM. Just so generally, and then before actually going into the code, I actually think it's perhaps a good idea to start and talk about theory and actually go through the architecture of SIM and WMI. This will help actually in the second step to understand how we can actually find more information about WMI, about SIM, and we talk briefly about which commandlets we have, and then we're going to do a very short demo, and basically that's it. Then we wrap up with a small conclusion, and that's it. So voila, I'm Stephane van Gulick. You can see me on the right side in front of the Pau de Açúcar in Brazil. First of all, you can follow me on Twitter at StephaneVG, or if you do not follow already my blog, you can go follow me on my blog at PowerShellDistrict.com. Concerning myself, I'm an MCSA, MCITP, and another bunch of MC somethings. I work mainly with PowerShell, and of course only using the Windows technologies for the moment, because that might evolve. Mostly the technologies I like to use are so PowerShell, of course, and I like to use PowerShell for stuff related to the Azure pack and automation with Config Manager. And yeah, otherwise in my daily tasks, I try to script as most as possible, because that's the thing I have the best in my hands, I think, and I have the most fun with it. So yeah, in the company, I'm starting to begin the guy who always write all the functions for everybody, and that's it. And yeah, generally speaking, I actually work in Switzerland in a city called Basel, but actually I live in France, and yeah, and that's it. And
Okay.
so,
Stephen, yeah.
mhm.
How many languages do you speak? Like, I know you know French. So you were learning Portuguese, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So I speak 4 languages,
Oh, wow.
and I'm learning a 5th one.
Oh,
So the thing is, I'm born actually in the Netherlands, and I grew up in France. So I have those 2 languages that come, I
oh,
would say, naturally. Then English is for every Dutch. Actually, English is like, I don't know. I think English would be a dialect from the Netherlands. I don't know.
oh,
And yeah, then German, because I work in the German-speaking part of Switzerland, and then
oh.
Portuguese because just, yeah, I like Brazil, and why not have another facing another challenge, right?
Yep.
So that's it. Um, and yeah, and so just why am I presenting something for the Bangalore user group? Just for the little history, I have been participating in the scripting games in 2000 and what was last year, 2000. That was still this year, 2014, and actually I was part of the same team as Dexter,
Yep.
that you guys probably all know.
Yep.
Yeah, we have had some great fun, and we have this passion in common called PowerShell, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to do something for the Bangalore user group?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." So here we are.
Okay, Stephen. Thanks for taking up that.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy about it. Just for a little side note, I just recently started the creation of 2 user groups. So I know 2 is perhaps a bit ambitious. So one for the city I work in, so it's called Basel. That's in Switzerland, and that's in the German-speaking part of Switzerland. And um, I'm still searching for a room actually to have our first meeting, and yeah, just spread the word. If you guys know anybody in Switzerland that would be happy to attend this type of meeting, just give him my contacts. And the second one is actually the user group in Strasbourg, which this time is in France, and this is a French-speaking user group, and so I just started to create administrative yeah things for it, and well, I haven't started to gather people, but voila, it's official. Those 2 groups are now existing, and I just have to put some coal in the locomotive, and like the train will start to go forward by itself.
Yep.
Voila.
So that's a
Okay.
good initiative.
Yeah, I hope I already have a few people that are interested in here in Basel, and yeah, it's just a bit difficult to spread the word, easy enough. So yeah, if you guys can help with that, that would be great. If you just know
Yeah.
some Swiss people, just spread the word.
Probably
Wow.
we can join your online hangouts too, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. So
that would
I'm
be
thinking of putting a first date somewhere around in January, begin February from next year for the Basel one, and then for Strasbourg, I'm still a bit in the fog there, but yeah, so around January and February. So
Okay.
that would be the starting point.
Okay.
Voilà. Great. Okay. Yeah, should I start?
Yeah. Let's.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go a bit in technical part. So just what is WMI? What is SIM? So WMI is actually, as you can see here, so this is the Wikipedia. This information comes from Wikipedia, and as you can read, WMI is Microsoft implementation of the web-based enterprise management, so WBM, of the Common Information Model, the SIM, Standards from Distributed Management Task Force. So WMI stands for Windows Management Instrumentation, and is actually just his own way of using the SIM database that is stored locally on every Windows environment. Actually, every machine, every device has this SIM sort of database. So routers have it, like boxes, like internet boxes, computers, servers, yeah, ATMs, whatever, actually. And that actually, it's more or less like a facilitator. It contains like method properties and everything that we can actually use to automate things. Yeah, so WMI is actually the first step that Microsoft took towards SIM, and actually nowadays Microsoft is taking another turn and going back to something more standard, and is coming back to SIM. And I will show that like in a minute. Like right now in these years, we're sitting on two edges. We have the past with WMI, and we have more or less the future with SIM commandlets. And this is what we're going to see a little bit in a detail. So yeah, the architecture concerning WMI and SIM can actually be resumed in the following little sheet I wrote for you. So I invite you guys to go to my blog here on PowerShellDistrict.com /WMI PowerShell week day 1. So basically, if we go here, so this is my blog, PowerShellDistrict.com, and we go here in WMI week, we have day introduction 1. So I have CWMI week here. I have posted every day during a whole week little tips and tricks for WMI, and actually I was presenting in detail a module that I have been writing that will actually help you to create your own WMI classes and properties and namespaces. But this is something that we will see in a minute. So yeah, just click here, day 1, introduction, and I actually already opened it here. So I explained basically what WMI and SIM is, everything here, so you can always come back to this part. And what I actually wanted to show is this. So before starting coding, actually, I wanted to show you this image just so you guys can understand that WMI is just not a big mess. SIM is just not a big mess. It's not, very confusing, blah, blah, blah. It is something logic, and it's something structured, and there's actually a hierarchy in it. And yeah, if you don't know it, if you start to script without knowing really what's there, you can find your way through it, but it will be a bit more difficult. And I thought that starting with this picture would actually help you guys. So you can see The top level here, it's called the WMI repository. So that is basically the WMI actually. It is actually a little bit like you can imagine it like a file system just for the structure, or something like an Active Directory OU structure, like it goes down. And we can see we have something called namespaces, classes, and then we have properties and methods. So a namespace will actually contain like a big chunk of classes, if I can say that. Typically here we would talk about the CIM v2. So that is actually the root, the default actually, of where all the WMI, most of the WMI classes reside. In there we're gonna have like a bunch of classes, like really a lot, especially in the CIM v2 one. And we're gonna have classes, as you can see, like Win32 share, for example, or Win32 BIOS. And those classes are going to contain properties and methods. So you can see the properties are in blue and the methods are in yellow. And here typically you're gonna have, like, for example, the name, the property path, and then you're gonna have a method create in order to actually create a new share. So just to refresh everybody's mind, if you guys are not familiar with this, property is just kind of like a variable. It's going to contain information about something. So it's going to contain, for example, here the name of that share, or it's going to contain the BIOS version number, so 3.4, something like that. And then the method is actually, yeah, just do something on the computer. And so here you can, it's a good example, I think it's Win32 share, and that actually helps you to create a new share programmatically with your with PowerShell. Okay, go back to the slide, and actually I see it's not thank you yet, it's demo. Yeah. So concerning the demo, I've prepared like just a few commands just to have a route and to be sure that that I will follow a line. There are, like I said, there are WMI commandlets and SIM commandlets. We can actually find all the commandlets related to WMI simply by using get command and WMI. And we can see we have a few here. We have 5. And the most important one, in my opinion, is get WMI object. That's the one I heavily use. Even still today, with the new SIM commandlets, I'm still a very hardcore user of the WMI object. Simply because I have faced situations where my clients did not have actually the SIM commandlets present on their systems. And you can see actually the SIM commandlets by using the same methodology to get the commandlets. And we have a bunch more, and we can see we have get SIM class, get SIM instance, etc. And actually we can see we have a bit more of possibilities here in actually accessing a class or actually accessing an instance. And I will come on that instance topic in just a few here. Yeah, just a side note actually. So get WMI object. So the WMI commandlets are present in every system, in every version of PowerShell. The SIM commandlets, though, they just arrived. They arrived actually in version 3 of PowerShell. So that means if your clients do not have, or if you do not have PowerShell version 3 on your computer, then you cannot use those SIM related commandlets. And this is one of my main reasons why I yeah, for my previous client, I've been using get WMI object just to be sure that it still worked, because his computer park was a bit not that standard in that way. Yeah, so basically, what is the how do we access actually WMI? This is nice, right? But why would we actually yeah, use it? So first, let's take a look at my BIOS. So this is a desktop. I'm doing this presentation on my desktop. Very nice desktop, very fast. Just the keyboard is not that good, right? But yeah, we can see here, if I take a look in the Win32 BIOS object, WMI object, we can see here information like the manufacturer name, serial number, version, etc. So this is a methodology to get information from your computer using PowerShell. Because not that there are no commandlets that I know of for the moment where you can do get BIOS, for example. So get VM BIOS I have here, but there's no get BIOS information or something. And so basically, if you need to provide this information for your boss or something, you need to know all the machines, which version of BIOS they have. You can do that using this methodology. And then, for example, here, this something else, but going to Win32 share this time, and we can see all the shares I've present on my computer, which is perhaps a bit more talkative to most of the people. In general, everybody knows what a share actually is. So this was actually the WMI way of accessing it. And now if we go through the same methodology but using get SIM instance, which would be actually the more or less the equivalent of WMI object to retrieve the same properties, we go and we see get SIM instance, and we receive exactly the same information as get WMI object. And if I do the same thing for the Win32 share, we see exactly the same results, but it's used with SIM instance. So let's go a bit more deeper in it, and let's put this in a variable. And actually, when we take a look then in so we have our properties here, and if we want to see actually what for which properties actually this instance contain, and with methods we have available to us, it's not very easy. So we can either search for Win32 BIOS directly on Google, which will actually bring us to the MSDN web page, which is very well documented generally, and we're going to find a lot of information. But if you want to stay on the computer, and this can be a bit faster, we can do a get member. This is a very important commandlet. Get member would actually show you all the properties and all the methods and all the little small secret thingies that you can actually do with WMI. And so you should actually see that we have a lot of properties here, but really a lot. And here we only have 4. And so actually PowerShell is hiding us a lot of information, and he's just providing us the information that he thinks is necessary for us. And so it's possible actually to get more information. We can actually simply format listed and then do start, and we see we have like all the information, all the properties now that are listed over here and that we did not have here. And this is just a way to to access actually the yeah, those properties that we do not see, but they are still present. And actually we can dot access as well all those properties very easily by simply, like I've done here before, I've put it in a variable, and then we just call it variable, press the dot, and we can see we have the IntelliSense here that's offering us a lot of possibilities, and I can just here click the one I want to show, and the BIOS name is actually the date and the version number of 36.03. That's a strange name, but this is it. This is it. And so perhaps the manufacturer would be something a bit more easy to understand in general. Voila, American Megatrends. That's my current BIOS. And yeah, there's a small thing actually as well that I have not mentioned yet is we have actually those commandlets, so WMI and SIM, and there's something else called accelerators, and it's actually a shortcut to some specific WMI commands, and it actually helps you a lot when you have to program things. I've actually bumped into situations where it would only work using the accelerators and not the other methods available to me, specifically in order to create new instances of things. Yeah, talking about instances, so since this presentation is for beginners, just an instance, if you guys are not familiar with this vocabulary, you can see here I recalled the getSim instance from the Win32 share class, and you can see all the shares I have present on my computer, and each of this line here is actually an instance. We have, so it's a share, and each instance will have a name, it will have a path, it will have a description, it will have an ACL, for example, it will have more properties. And so that's an instance, and this is actually important to understand because here we get WMI class. You can actually create a new instance of a share, for example, using the Win32 share. And yeah, this is just what I'm gonna demonstrate very quickly. So you can see I quickly created just a share using the GUI, and if I go and I launch this, and I'm just going to show you actually that I do not have any share here. That's called district, and if I call this line here, we see I have a return value of 0. I go back here, and I have my share here, and I actually could access it. I think my computer name is Hobbs, and then district, and voila, I have access to my share. I can just, oh yeah, I need permission. So yeah, I didn't create permissions on my share. But yeah, anyways, you got the point. It's possible to automate this, and so basically what you can do here in the later step is you would for example change this to local path, for example, and you would set that here, local path equal, voila, and then like you would say share name, and then this would be a default value, and then basically what you can do is later on you can actually wrap this in a function, new share, you can wrap this in a function like this, and you have to put these ones, of course. Oh yeah, well, I'm just gonna switch to French keyboard. That's gonna help me. Voilà.
Okay, Stephanie, can you increase the font size a bit on the
Can I what?
eyes? Increase the font size.
Oh yeah, sure.
Control plus, I think. Yeah.
Like this?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and so basically, and then here again as well, the description. The description equal. What else? Voila. And so I just created a function. So I'm unsure if people are used to work with functions in your user group there. I don't know really the level, but yeah, it's basically this is what you generally do, and like this you can simply call each time your function new share, and it will create a new share actually. And this is a good way actually to access features in Windows, automate features that you cannot actually do because there's currently no command-led available.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Stephen. So I think you talk about some GUI tools to explore WMI in your blog, right? So do you have any of those tools available right now, so that probably you can show the viewers?
So you're talking about the module or those visual tools?
Yeah, visual tools. The
Yeah,
WMI.
exactly. Yeah, I was arriving there. So that's for the demo part concerning really the commandlets. And as you can see, when you start with it, it is a bit. It can be a bit complicated if you don't have this vision, of this infrastructure, because it's really like this. But if you only see those things through this PowerShell code, it's not as appealing as something graphical. So on the market and on the internet, there are a lot of tools actually available in order to actually see what the WMI repository looks like. And this is actually a fantastic way to help you develop, or to help you understand actually how the WMI repository is structured and how you can actually work with it. So on that same page, the PowerShell WMI week day 1, so I explained what I just presented before with the hierarchy, and here we have a list of tools, and a lot of them are just called WMI Explorer, and it's those tools actually give you this information, this graphical information about your repository. So the one that I really like is the one from Sapien, but this one is not free. This one costs $49 if I'm correct. The one from Kaido Gervens as well is based totally on PowerShell and is a good one, and this one is free. And then you have the historical one. This is the first one I know. It's called MOV WMI browser, and this one is based as well on PowerShell. It has been in the community since ages actually, and so the guy stopped the development, and I think Jeffrey Hicks posted his version on his website, so it's still available there, and it works fine. It's just a little bit slow. And then recently, actually, I found out about another one that I actually didn't present it yet on my blog. It's called WMI Explorer 2.0. So basically, those names never really change. And I'm gonna call this with run as administrator, admin. And basically, this is the same thing. So you have to connect to a computer here. And yeah, this is actually something I forgot to say, is that you can actually, in PowerShell as well, you can, with the get WMI, if I go a bit in the past, get WMI object, you have a parameter that's called computer name, and you can actually run your functions, run your things remotely on other computers. And this is perfect. This is great for in order to scale up actually your script and to touch not only your local computer, but like, for example, all the computers located in a specific OU or something. Okay, back to the GUI. Here we can see actually how it is structured, and we can see here in Wins 32, we do here enumerate classes.
Stephen, is this one a free tool or do we have to pay
This
for
one
it?
is a free tool. Yeah, this one is free. It's an open project. Actually, I received the information from Guido from Brazil,
Okay.
and yeah, I will actually provide the link when I give you the. I will put the download link in the
Okay.
slides at the end, so everybody can access them.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Sim v2 is actually, like I said, it has a bunch. You see, like really a lot of classes, right? So this tool is pretty well made because you see here namespaces, classes, instances, and then you see here properties, methods. You see, and actually it helps you understand those graphical tools, how WMI is actually structured. And if we go, for example, to our so here we have a filter. Well, this is great, and we search Win32 share, and we double click on it, and we can see we have all our instances here.
Okay.
So their name is a bit different than what showed in used with get WMI with the get sim instance, but we have the shares here, and then we have our properties here. So the caption and then some help, and we have a description, you know, and a description of, for example, in the description, but it helps you to understand, okay, this field here, this property has those abilities, right? And this is great, actually. This tool, I regret this tool didn't came out a bit earlier because I would have loved this tool at the time, and I've struggled actually without those graphical tools before. And voila. And so if you guys need to do something with WMI, there are actually two things that you should keep in mind. Is you keep in mind this graphical image of the structure, and then always work with a WMI Explorer to make things easier, just to see actually what you created as well. And yeah, I'm just gonna open this one because this one's the one I've been using a lot, and you see, yeah, has been created by the PowerShell guy and in 2006.
Okay, that's the one I've been using too.
Voila, see that. So that's the one that has been here since a long time, and but I've been facing some little bugs here and there, and I actually never really looked into the code to try to fix them. For example, when it doesn't find a specific property sometimes or specific instances, it can show an error message, which is handled and everything. It doesn't crash, but voila. And I haven't seen those problems with the other two, with the WMI Explorer 2.0. So this one is really fast. And then I actually think that the nicest one for me would be the Sapien one, but of course this one you have to pay for it. So voila. Yeah. So just very quickly, why would you actually use WMI for somebody who's new to it? So WMI is very useful when, for example, you have to automate something and you realize there are no existing official PowerShell commandlets. So the PowerShell team created it so that if you cannot access things through the official commandlets, you have the WMI repository where you could eventually try to automate things. Typically, and this most likely Dexter will agree with me, for
The config manager, right? We don't
yeah,
have.
Exactly. So config manager, I was trying to get them here. The config manager commandlets only showed up in the SP1 version, if I'm correct. So that's like a
Yep.
year later that then it came out. And as you can see, so I've posted here on my blog, I started actually to create basically something. It's called a module. It's like a library of functions, and this helps you to automate things in config manager. So if you guys are familiar with config manager, you can see get the collection, get package, get user folder, new device collection, blah blah blah. And so I started to create a module. I was not the only one. There are like two other people who wrote modules as well. I only realized this later, and I actually personally stopped the development of this module when I heard that the SP1 would come with commandlets. And actually it came with a bunch of like really a lot. It came with like 200 or 300 commandlets or something. It's really big number, or perhaps not that much, but really big. And yeah, and actually Microsoft has been using it like a method called CDXML, would actually helps you to create commandlets based on WMI using kind of like XML configuration file. And so, for example, Richard Sidaway has been doing a lot of presentation on that technology, and specifically during the PowerShell Summit, the European PowerShell Summit. And yeah, so if you're more interested into it, you can go into that direction, because it helps you to generate a lot of commandlets, a lot of code, just by doing a lot of copy pasting, which is actually way faster than really writing this code. You see it here, like you have all those parameters as well and everything, and yeah, and
Yep.
that's one of the reasons why you would use a SIM.
Okay, and one thing I'd like to point here is like your functions, Stefan, like they have helped me a lot. So like you do have a cool repository. So whenever I needed one, I'll just go to your
Yeah.
blog and get the function from there.
Yeah.
And
Thank
and
you.
the better part of your module is that it doesn't have any dependencies. Correct? I can just plug it into my script and I can start using it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So I have these ones on 2012, and I stopped their development, as I said, when the SP1 came out, and I then have the same one actually for SCCM 2007, and this one is way more complete. This one, it has not been started by me, but I have added like, I think 40 commandlets or something like that, 30 commandlets to this one. And like you said, there's absolutely no dependency. Like you have this this file. You go on TechNet here, so I've provided the link to download it. You download the PSM1 file, and then you simply have to import it, import module, and then the name of the module, and that's it. And then you have access to all those commandlets, and you don't need to have a specific version of .NET installed or something. You just need to have the latest version that you need to have of PowerShell actually is PowerShell 2.0, which is actually starts to get old actually now when I think about it, PowerShell 2. But and yeah, and so there's no need to have that certificate thing as with the 2012 or something else.
Yep.
Voila. Yeah, so I think I have more or less finished what I wanted to talk about. So I will go back to the slide. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so in this demo, I just shortly presented the architecture of WMI and SIM. which commandlets we could use. So the WMI commandlets and the SIM commandlets. I showed you guys some examples based on WMI, on get WMI object and get SIM instance. For example, create a new share, use based on the Win32 share. So basic example, but this is basically what you can do. And so actually all the tools of Microsoft, or most of them, have WMI, have something in the WMI repository. So you can actually script almost everything based on WMI if you don't have any commandlets. So all the tools in the System Center family, for example, are WMI based, and yeah, etc. So Word, no, not Word. Word is COM actually, but voila. And I'll show you guys as well some extra tools, the WMI Explorers. Those are really helpful actually to to see actually what's happening in your repository, what you have. And there's just another tool I forgot to mention very briefly. It's another module I wrote, and it's actually a WMI module, and this module actually helps you to create classes, for example, namespaces, instances, properties. I'm almost finished with another thing in order to create methods, and basically with this module you can actually create your own actually namespace here. So you see here, for example, I have here district, which was a test of mine, and I didn't delete it. And in there, you could have your own classes, which then could have properties and methods. And then actually those properties would have key qualifiers or simple qualifiers, but that is a bit out of scope for this presentation, I think. And yeah, so this module actually helps you to create your own little WMI thingies in your repository, which is actually helpful, specifically for OSD engineers if you wanna, because we tattoo actually the WMI and the registry very often, and just to put information on the build of the image, for example, how long it took actually to deploy the image, so number in minutes, for example.
I think you wrote a post about it, correct, Stephane?
Pardon me?
I think you wrote a post about that, right?
Oh yeah, I wrote like a lot. So basically the whole WMI week here. So the day one here is really the introduction to WMI, SIM, everything actually, what it actually is, why would you use it, what are the tools. So basically what I'm presenting here, more or less, I didn't talk about WPM test that, so this is really the first tool, but it's a bit complicated to use this one. And then actually all the other days, day two, I actually start with explaining. As you can see, I start with explaining what, so namespaces, classes, properties, qualifier, instances. I go down in the hierarchy, and I'm explaining. Oh yeah, so this is where I work actually. This is Basel. Voilà. I forgot. Yeah, and so I explain here very in detail how things work actually.
So Stephane, if suppose I don't know anything about WMI and I follow your WMI week, I'll be getting a good understanding of WMI, right?
Yeah, you would actually, but I think this is a second layer of WMI knowledge. I think the first layer would really to concentrate to focus on the introduction, because that is really where you're gonna find all the information on how it works, what tools do you need, what are the commandlets, etc. And then like the other ones is really an introduction to actually what is a namespace, for example, and then I show actually what you can do with the module WMI commands that I've wrote actually.
Okay.
And so getting the namespace and creating a namespace, for example, because actually before the SIM commandlets, you didn't have the possibility to just
Great. Yep.
actually see the the namespace, just see a class and not only the instances, right? You had the possibility with dash list, but yeah, so basically those are wrappers that I've wrote, and well, it goes more than just wrappers, but yeah. But so like I said, the introduction, the day one is actually good, just really for beginners. You want to start with it, that's perfect.
Okay.
And voila.
Okay.
And then I think this presentation helps you to go understand how you can actually automate things.
Yep.
And then second step would be like creating those registry, found those WMI.
And I think everybody is nowadays talking about DSC, correct? So
yeah,
I think DSC is built on top of WMI and SIM. So at the end of the day, it's just a morph, right? So
exactly. That's exactly it. So DSC stands for Desired State Configuration, and I think you guys already had a presentation from one of the best DSC authors out there. So you guys are very lucky. And like you said, DSC is only is WMI based, and so having this knowledge of how WMI works and everything will really help to understand and potentially to troubleshoot DSC related errors or misconfiguration of things. And so like you said, it's based on MOFs, and I actually have two commandlets in the module that will actually let me just find it, that will actually create a MOF out of a specific class that you would present, and then it will actually, I do have another commandlet in order to create a WMI class based on a MOF. Actually, not to create a class, it's to create anything that is specified in that in the MOF file. Yeah, so so the function is called some get MOF, I suppose, or
okay, probably probably we can explore that, right? Probably we can download your module and
yeah, sure. But I think this is like specifically if you're new to WMI, this is actually very deep in the technique. So I think this would be a second or third step to go.
Okay.
But
okay. So Stephane, I think you are done with your presentation, right?
I actually am. I just wanted to just to wrap up very quickly here. The accelerators, I've just written them here, so you guys have access to them. I've talked to them. I've used one to create a share, this one, and I just wanted to put them somewhere here in the slide, so you guys have them. So you have three of them, and they can be very useful. And and that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
So again, follow. I'm available on Twitter anytime if you have questions, suggestions, or and my blog is PowerShell District. I think you have seen that pretty much.
Yep. Okay, so guys, you can follow Stephane on Twitter, and he's very responsive, one of the most responsive guys on Twitter. So if you post him a question, he'll probably respond in few minutes. If he's up and he's working, which most of the time he is.
If I'm off, and if my phone is not on vibrating, I might actually even read the message, but I only answer it the next morning.
So, and he does a lot of cool stuff with WMI. And if you are tackling bits, OSD, or anything related to WMI, probably you can give him a shout out, and he'll be ready to help you guys.
Yeah, definitely. And also with if you guys have interest in Azure, the Azure pack, I'm starting to do a lot of run books actually right now. So that's basically PowerShell workflows, and I'm doing a lot of that right now. I haven't blogged about it really, but I do have a lot of drafts that I started, and I just need to find some time to finish them. But that's always an issue.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Probably you can present that sometime again to our
Yeah, I
user
would. Yeah, well, perhaps in my first in my first Basel user group meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Stephane, for taking out time for us.
Yeah, that
And,
was great. And
yep. And
anytime.
yep. And I'll post this video as a reference because we had a lot of guys asking a lot of questions on WMI. So your video will serve as a reference for us now for all the queries
Okay.
related to WMI.
Okay. Great. Okay.
Okay. Cool. So thanks again, Stephen.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome. And
Yep.
I don't know, is this going on now, or we stop the
Yeah.
presentation?
I'll just stop it.
Okay, okay, that's great. Okay,
Okay. Yep. Thank you guys for joining
thank
in.
you.
And
Thank you
thanks,
very much.
Stephen. Yep.
Yeah, bye bye.